Hello everyone, it's Soul Super 17 here, and I just want to apologize to all of you real quick. I have my fan on my second setting because my parents are watching a movie and it can be really loud, so I do not want you to hear them. So I have my basically, you know, up close to me, so that way you're able to hear my voice over anything else, including the fan. But yeah, this what if is basically gonna be a what if Deku got cremation. He's not gonna be born with it, he's gonna be given it. And this kind of works out for me because of All for One. But anyways, I'll explain more after I say what I usually say. I do not own this picture, and this is a non-paid video. Okay, so explanation. All for One, have after finding out that his brother had a quirk that could transfer other quirks, he legitimately goes out looking for quirks like that. Basically, people who say they're quirkless in this what if aren't really quirkless, because everyone thinks they are, including themselves, because doctors say, oh, they have like a bone, the extra joint is not even there, but they don't have a quirk. So there is a 5% of people that have the no extra joint, but they still don't have a quirk, because these quirks are transferred. So if you have another quirk, that's the only one you can transfer. So he found only 3 people with that quirk. But he realized that he could use this to his advantage too. Like, he can create new heroes that could have way more powerful quirks. Like, any quirk, he can literally take someone else's quirk and then basically mix that with the other quirk that he's combined with. Say the quirk that can transfer other quirks could then be given to somebody with a hardened quirk, then he could transfer over to somebody else. But it doesn't get stronger over time like All Might's, because that is a stockpiling quirk. But yeah, so basically he thinks about that, and that's how Dabi's gonna, that's how Deku is basically going to do this. So yeah, also, Shiraku is going to be the same. Deku is going to be a little bit more colder to people, and Inko is going to be a little bit more colder to Midoriya. She'll feed him breakfast and all that, but she won't talk to him at all. So Deku is going to be like a little bit, and he's going to get, and Deku is going to get a lot more bullied in this. Because I'm going to have Deku kind of have Dabi's attitude, but just trying to become a hero. Say he's going to be a mixture between my bloodbending what if one Deku and then just this. So yeah. Okay. Alright, I did enough explain. If you got any more questions, I'll explain it all in the next video if you guys like this so much. If you guys don't, I understand. This is just a thing that I'm doing. But I just want to say this. This is what the picture I was talking about in my video I uploaded earlier today about how this picture gets a solo leveling vibe. So I'm gonna basically give Dabi the transfer quirk and then the leveling quirk, and basically Deku's original quirk that was stolen from him. Also, All for One is Deku's father. So yeah, I already know this is gonna be fun. So let's get into this. This is what if Deku got cremation. Mostly, I'm giving him a basic a lot of things. Part 1. Alright, but first, how should I start it off? Okay. Yeah, we're basically at the Quirk doctor. Deku's 4 years old. And it's with the same doctor from Canon. He tells him he's quirkless. And Inko is devastated. Midoriya is devastated. Deku watches the video, and Inko doesn't even go up to him, So, everyone finds out he's quirkless right away. And that's when Bakugo basically gets his quirk and starts bullying Deku also. That was 4 days after Deku found out he was quirkless. So yeah. So there's nothing much happening besides a lot of, stuff happening to him, being bullied and all that. So yeah, we're skipping all that, and we're just going right into 14 years old. Alright. But, so, Deku, at this point in time, he still wants to be a hero. But he views everyone in the school, and most people who have quirks that think they're better than everyone, as his enemy, basically. And Deku literally does not care, about Bakugo. He doesn't acknowledge him, which makes Bakugo even angrier at him. And this time, Deku has been training his body and sleep, at night, every day. And he doesn't, let Bakugo, just explode him. He fights Bakugo. And Bakugo keeps on trying to throw even more explosions, which Bakugo he only started fighting Bakugo in middle school. And this is, the end of it. So Bakugo has actually gotten a lot of broken bones because of Deku. Which, everyone is terrified of him. The teachers don't even stop him. They thinking, he's quirkless, and yet he's doing all this. What can we do? Against a guy with a quirk, but then a guy with no quirk. How is that even possible? So yeah. But Deku does have a severe case of depression because of people keep on telling him, he won't be even anything, even if he has all this strength. So he's just saying, yeah, whatever. But on the inside, he's like, I know that. What am I gonna do? If I only had a quirk. I got so strong without one. So, after basically the end of the day, Deku does take notes, but he only does it on his lunch break and he switches every lunch break spot that he has, so Bakugo's goons won't find him. Deku's hair is the same color, green, and he has the green eyes, but it's he doesn't care about he cares about his mother, but it's she doesn't care about him, and it's just he's done with the green hair. He's saying, I really should get this done, change. I'm getting done with all this. He thought about running away from home a couple of times. He has thought about other stuff that ain't good, so, but he hasn't done it. He says that's stupid. So, when Deku basically, they say the final day, the day where the anime starts, the teacher throws up all the papers. Deku applied to UA, and though he write on his paper of the roster, or ask somebody to tell his teacher if he gets a paper, do not tell anyone in the classroom that he's going, because he doesn't want to deal with the hassle. So the teacher was given a notice not to tell anyone. So Bakugo gives his whole entire speech, and he says, everyone here, don't let me in with them. They'll be even lucky to get with a D-list hero, because I'm going to be the best around. And Deku is just looking out the window, not even caring, just a layback attitude. So yeah. So basically, someone asks, is anyone else trying to get into UA? And the teacher says, no, not really. It's nobody else with Bakugo. And Deku just has a little grin. He wants to say something so badly, and he doesn't. He's just thinking of something really funny. He goes like, "Murder explosion boy over there can't even act like a hero if he ever wanted to." As then like as he looks down on his sleeve, as he sees like some cuts on him, because even though he remembers the time where Bakugo did an explosion in the classroom that was big enough to push him back, like send him flying, and his arm hit the window, which Bakugo did get expelled for, but he came right back. I mean, like expelled or suspended. Just a period of time he's not around school. And then he even like did in-school suspension. In-school suspension. So, yeah. Mitsuki was very mad at him for that. She asked why he's doing this to Midoriya. He says because he has no quirk. He's quirkless. He's just a deku. He's useless and all that. Mitsuki slapped Bakugo for that. And she's crying and she says, "But I don't know what's wrong with you." And when she went to visit Midoriya after he got all patched up and everything, she said, "I'm so sorry for it." And then Deku just looked at her and says, "You know what? Just save it. Don't apologize for him. Honestly, it doesn't matter what he thinks. He's not gonna be a hero with that attitude." Basically, she picked him up basically, and they were in the car when she said that. And when he got to his place, he just left. And she was crying a little bit while driving. She wasn't far from her house, so she got home safely. So Mizuki? Yeah, Mizuki. Yeah, I'm not gonna care anymore. But yeah. So after that, that's the end of the flashback. At the end of the day, Deku just grabs his stuff and packs up everything, and Bakugo says, he comes up and says, "Hey Deku, I'm surprised you didn't." And Deku just pushes in a chair and leaves as two guys trying to get in his way. As he just glares at them and they just back off. And he goes, "Pathetic. You guys have quirks and yet you're scared of a quirkless? Good thing you're not going to become heroes." As they about to say something, and then he goes, "What? You're going to tell me, shut it? I'm a quirkless and I can't become a hero? What about people that didn't have quirks in the past? In the past, basically, weren't they heroes like firemen, policemen, army men, before all quirks? So originally, you could say the quirkless are still the original heroes." And then he walks out, and he also slammed the door, and Bakugo was just angry at that. So, but he says, though, the nerd's right, though. Hate to admit it. So yeah. So Deku he takes a different pathway that is not going to be underneath the bridge, so he would not meet All Might. He goes up to his usual spot, which is on top of a building, the same building that All Might was on when, basically he was on the roof. And he walks by somebody who basically isn't paying attention to no one else. Is just walking by and thinking, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to join them eventually. Just get back at him. And then, basically Deku bumps into him as this man says, "Hey kid, what?" And Deku just looks and goes, "What? Watch where I'm going? How about you?" And Dabi, though, kind of sees some marks on him. Deku does not have, the same scarring as Dabi, but, this is Dabi that he bumped into. Basically, Deku has scars from over the years of Bakugo, which he has been to the hospital more times than he can count, but just with explosions recently, they have let burn marks on him. So people know, like, Deku hides this, but he had his shirt unbuttoned, so nobody would know, like, not many people notice because they don't really look at him at all. But Dabi did, because he has a scar, in which Deku didn't even care for, he didn't ask. So when, well, he has the mask on over his face, but you can tell by the scarring on him. So when, after he saw that, he's wondering, how did that kid get that? It's because of his quirk? So Dabi, decides to follow Deku face, and he follows him on top of the roof, and he's thinking, oh great, this kid's gonna jump. And then he just sees, when he gets up there, he just sees Deku just leaning against the fence on the building, just looking out. And he goes, so kid, are you gonna jump? And Deku just looks, like, turns his head, and he goes, oh, it's you. Nope, not even close. This is where I come to calm down after a day. It's relaxing, I like to unwind here. As basically Dabi walks over to the fence, and he goes, yeah, impressive view. Buildings, buildings, and more buildings. As Deku says, it's not that view. Look down. As where he sees the people, he goes, really? At night, it's more better, but for now, it's at least good enough. And so Dabi then says, so what's with the scarring on your neck? Or the burns. As Deku says, oh crap. You saw them. Yeah, well, you got scars of your own. So, want me to ask you about them? And Dabi says, fair enough. But hey, just answer my question, will you? As Deku kind of just pulls up his sleeves go down, and he says, what's the point? He has his head looking at him, and he says that he was like, seriously, I don't want to bring up any memories that happened just a couple of days ago. And then Dabi looks at his arm, he sees cuts on his arm. He goes, kid, show me. He goes, what? He goes, show me your arm. He goes, no. Why should I? I don't even know you. And Dabi takes off the mask that he has, and he says, show me now, kid. And Deku just takes off his jacket. I think he had another shirt underneath it, so let's just say he does. A white shirt. And Dabi sees more than just cuts on his arm from a window. Basically that window his arm was smashed into, it was his right one. So Dabi asked him what happened to his arm. He says, oh, this is at least 2 months ago. I got stitches in it because of a certain guy in my classroom. Bullies me, and his quirk is explosion, so he did a big enough explosion to send me flying, and I hit the window with my right arm. So, yeah. I got scarring, and then Dabi says, okay, now what's with all the other, bruises and scars on you? And he just says, I'm quirkless. This is what happens to somebody that's quirkless. It's nothing special for me. I'm used to it. As Dabi is in shock and says, wait, you're quirkless? He goes, yeah. He goes, does your mom know about this? And he goes, and Deku just says, my mother? She doesn't even talk to me no more. She makes me breakfast in the morning, and then she goes to her work, and then when I come home, I say hi to her, and no one answers me. You really think she's gonna talk to someone that has no quirk? We're surviving because she's working. If I had a quirk, it could be a lot more easier for her. I know that. And it could be a lot more easier on me too. Basically, I don't even know why I want to become a hero sometimes. As Dabi goes, wait, why would you want to become a hero if you're... I go, yeah, if I get treated like this, so that way no one else can. So that way I can help people. Make their hopes reality. Make sure that they're safe and no one has to end up like me. Even the quirkless people don't have to end up like me. Alright? I get told, just because I'm quirkless, I can't become a hero. And yet, from the very moment of time, people that had no quirks, before they all came around, were heroes. And yet yet quirkless people get treated like we're useless. Society, am I right? And Dabi remembers what he went through, what his brother and sister went through, and what his little brother went through. And yes, I'm making it, the Dabi theory is he's Toya Todoroki, and in this, he is. So yeah. As Dabi says, give me a minute. Then he says, oh yeah, kid, my name is Dabi. He goes, alright, Dabi. And then, he takes out his phone, he goes, hold on, I'm gonna put on my... I'm just gonna turn on the volume low on this. Okay. Alright, I had a feeling you guys won't be able to hear it, but I'll look at the video. If it's good enough for you can hear me, I would then, post this, but yeah. Okay, so Dabi pulls out his phone. He basically calls up Shigaraki. Or should I say, he calls up Kirigiri. And Kirigiri answers, he goes, hello. He says, Kirigiri, can you give me your boss? And I don't mean the kid that's 19 or 20. So please, give me to your real boss. As Kirigiri says, alright. And so he opens a portal to All For One. And All For One says, Kirigiri, what's the matter? Basically, and he says, Dabi wants to talk to you, sir. I don't know why, but he sounds serious. Please, talk to him. Okay, I'm just really worried. I don't want to get no copyright. It's on the second level. Sorry, everyone. But, yeah. So, All For One says, alright, give me the phone. As he basically, hands him the phone. As Dabi, is just waiting, and as he hears, he says, Dabi, I presume. As he goes, so you're the main boss, huh? As All For One says, yes. And then he goes, what do you need me for? He says, I have a question for you. He goes, oh, really now? He goes, yeah. Do you have, a quirk in you that can basically transfer other quirks? As All For One has been holding on to 3 of those quirks. As he goes, yes, actually, I do. Why did you need it for? He goes, well, considering that my body isn't suitable for this quirk of mine, and since what you told me, basically, you basically have the ability to take quirks and transfer over to people, I was wondering, could you combine my quirk with another one so I can give it to a kid? Hold on, everyone. Sorry about that, everyone. That was my mom. She came in and gave me cookies. Chocolate chip. But, okay. So, All For One asks, would you like a different quirk then? He goes, yeah, preferably a nice quirk if you could. So, do we have a deal? All For One? And he goes, yes. But tell me, who is this boy you're giving your quirk to? As then, Dabi says, hey, kid, what's your name? As Deku, has his on his jacket, it's just opened up now, and he says, the name is Izuku Midoriya, don't forget it. His Dabi goes back to the phone and says, his name is Zuku Midoriya. As All For One goes like, wait, repeat that please? He says, Zuku Midoriya. He goes, he's thinking to himself, my son, Zuku. He then asks Dabi to take a picture of him. And he goes, what for? He goes, please do. As he says, Dabi says, hey, take off your jacket again. As he goes, why? Just do it and make a pose or something. As Deku just holds out his fist and to the side, and Dabi takes a picture of him and he sends it to All For One. As All For One sees all this bruising and scars on him, as he is generally upset with this. But he hides it in his voice, but in his mind he's very upset. He says to Dabi, so that's the boy, huh? He goes, yeah, you know, he goes, I may have heard of a Midoriya, but I don't really know for sure. And he's holding back all his anger as he basically says, alright, do you mind if I add some more to your cremation quirk then? He goes, really? And Dabi goes like what? Oh, just flame manipulation. And maybe a other quirk that can help it with its power output. Give it a more variety. As Dabi says, whatever. As basically, All For One says, how long will it take you to get here? As he says, I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes? He goes, can you get there in 5? He goes, if I run, please do. And he says, well, I'm on top of a building. He goes, well, just get here as soon as possible. As he's letting his emotion take over. As this is really freaking out Kirigiri, because he's been there the whole entire time, and he sees his master's left hand been clenching a fist, as basically Dabi, you know, they hang up as Kirigiri says to All For One, he goes, Master, what's my son has been abused and neglected, and no one cares. As Kiryu goes, but Shigaraki goes, no, my biological son. As All For One, hold on everyone, I gotta do something real quick. Okay, so as All For One saying that, Kirigiri can feel his master's anger, because he thinks Inko has done that to him, and no one has stopped it. He hates it that he can't be there at his son's side now, and he probably thinks he wants to become a hero, and he's okay with that. He's okay. He does not want his son to end up like this. But the doctor walks in, and All For One looks over his direction, and he is, as the doctor says, the same doctor that has the goggles and the mustache, and he says, Master, what's wrong? He goes, Izuku Midoriya, a little boy, 4 years old. Did he have a quirk? As the doctor says, remembers with it. He says, yes, actually, a flame manipulation quirk. He goes, the one and the only one I have? He goes, yes, it was very powerful. As then he gets All For One sends out something like that, kind of like a miniature air bullet that goes right past the doctor as it cuts his cheek a little. As he was like, oh, Master goes, that was my son. You ruined his life. Give me one reason why I shouldn't end you. And he goes, because of the Nomu, and you know, and the Nomu basically is, as All For One says, not good enough. It says, because your treatment, sir, that's why you should keep me around. As All For One says, you're lucky. As then he's trying to calm himself down, and the doctor starts saying, if I knew he was your son, I would have never taken his quirk. I swear to you, I wouldn't. But he says, what about Shigaraki? He says, that was a life I. That was before. That was a life before I met the woman I fell in love with. I told Shigaraki about the woman. About she had a child. And she was not actually upset with it. He was actually thrilled he may actually have a little brother. As Kirigiri says, "Ah, yes, I remember the day. But to think, your son. What happened to it?" As then the phone is still in his right hand, as he shows Shigaraki, not Shigaraki, Kirigiri. As Kirigiri looks at it, as he goes, "Oh my, did Inko do this?" He says, "I don't know. Dabi needs to tell me." As all for one in this really did care about Inko. He really did want to be a father, but he was still going to be the villain, but he was going to tell her everything about him. And he would have understood, but he would tell her that he does not want their child to end up like him. That's all. So yeah. So when Dabi gets there after 10 minutes, he does tell Midoriya, though, that to give him his address, and he'll come by and see him, even give him his number. So he does, and then, Dabi leaves, and 10 minutes later, after he left, he gets there. All for one asked him to explain this boy's situation, as then he explains that he is quirkless. Basically, he says he's been bullied by a kid that has explosions, and he's the one who made all those marks. And then he says his mother, she makes him breakfast and dinner and leaves him alone. She doesn't even talk to him anymore. So he says, so she's neglected him. As All For One has a little bit of an anger tone with it. As he goes, alright, come here. As basically, he tells him he's going to try to make this quick and as painless as possible. As he basically touched Dabi's face, as he does start screaming at first for a few minutes, and then he stops as he says, as then he just says, that hurts. And he says, I told you I'll try to make it as painless as possible. My apologies, Dabi. As then he looks inside to where how many quirks he has, as he finds the flame manipulation quirk that he says this quirk is very powerful. I should have known this was my son's. I don't want this. As he, basically puts it with flame manipulation. The flame manipulation with the cremation. As then he finds a quirk that he basically had no really use for. A leveling quirk. Basically, since this has some solo leveling vibes, I'm giving a leveling quirk. Basically, Deku will have like a screen that only he can see, and basically he can think of what he wants to put into. Like he'll get skills of his quirk. He'll even be able to make certain things. Basically, it's an RPG quirk or leveling quirk. An RPG leveling. So everything from a RPG it has. So yeah, he puts that in as he starts mixing them together. So when he puts them together, he is shocked to see that his quirk has changed dramatically. And it's very, very more potent now in power, as basically he thinks he needs to have a limit to this, but he's seeing that it's glowing differently. It was blue, but now it's going many different colors. It's looking like if it was all Might's quirk, one for all, but then it goes back to blue. As he says, I think this quirk may be too much, but if so, I need to tell Dabi to keep an eye on him. And then he tells Dabi, he's done. And that took like 20 minutes. As then he puts it back into Dabi as he says, I added more than just flame manipulation. I added a quirk that's based off of, what do you call them, RPG leveling? He goes, wait, really? He goes, yes. I did not have no use for it, so I never used it. But I think this boy, this Izuku Midoriya, could easily, use it very well. As Dabi says, alright. And then he tells Dabi, though, when I mixed the quirks together, it was very strange. It was different. It started going in multiple colors, then went back to blue. You may need to keep an eye on him after you're done training him. I believe you may do. As Dabi says, yeah, I told him I would. Heck, after talking to him for a little bit, he wants to become a hero, and I don't really mind it. He may actually be a hero that I actually can like, or come to get along with. As All For One smiles about it, he goes, why does he want to become a hero so badly? He says, well, he said at first it was to become like All Might. But then his childhood friend that it turned out to be bullying him, and he goes, what was the name of the friend? All For One asks this, he says, Bakugo Katsuki. As then he thinks, Mitsuki, son. But he says, what about the mother? He goes, oh, the mom knows. She's the one who keeps on paying for the hospital bill for him. And she even apologizes every single time, just try and be there for the kid, but he's cold-hearted, like me. I mean, we kind of seem similar in a way. And All For One is a little bit upset about that, because he didn't want his son to be, he wanted his son to be happy and cheerful, but it's reality, so he goes, alright, come back and get your ice quirk later. He goes, I will. Finally gonna show that old man I don't need his stupid quirk. As basically Dabi leaves, as Kirigiri comes in and he says, Master, are you? He goes, yeah, I'm fine, Kirigiri. Just please leave me alone for right now. As he says, yes, Master. As he leaves, as he's remembering the day he met Inko, how he met her, their time together, as he says, why did I not tell her sooner? He remembers the day where he was fighting All Might, and that he remembered she was at least 7 months pregnant, so, and they were gonna get married soon. As soon as Hasashi disappeared, he's actually, his All For One is like Shigaraki still. That's his last name, because that's what I heard. His name is still Shigaraki. It's just he doesn't say his real name, but he said Hasashi, or so Hasashi Shigaraki. Midoriya is her last name. So yeah. As he said, his job is gonna take him overseas, but he'll come back for the wedding date. But then, as soon as he got injured, she he kind of like had Kirigiri to have her call her and tell her that he's dead. He had to say that he's dead, and there was an explosion at the place we sent him to, and we can't find the body, so he's dead, as she was been heartbroken. Yeah, I'm doing that, sir, but yeah. So after that, Deku gets a call, Deku gets a text message from Dabi, and says, come outside. As Deku, leaves, as he looks at his mom, who's basically watching TV. She's not, the same way she was in Canada. She's skinny, and she's basically sleeping on a couch as he like puts a blanket over her, as he does kiss her on the forehead. Says, "Good night, Mom." He's still gonna care about his mother. He's still gonna care. It's just he doesn't he loves her a lot, and he can understand why. His dad has not been around. She wanted him to have a good life. She was hoping him to have a quirk, and now she doesn't know what to do. Like, she was preparing for him to have like a fire quirk along with, or a telekinesis quirk. But to be quirkless, it was devastating to her. She doesn't know what to do. She technically broke. The only thing she can do is keep helping him, like keep living, just like having him get what he needs, and that's it. Deku does not know, but she has been working more than one job. She has been saving up money, just in case. Even though they said he's quirkless, there sometimes are late bloomers. So she has been saving up money just in case for him. The day when he manifests as his quirk, he can basically get into UA. He's able to do all this, and she has been working Emily. She works one job part-time, then she works another job part-time, and then comes home, makes him dinner, falls asleep, then she works a full-time job, and the same pattern repeats. Part-time one day, full-time another day, part-time one day, full-time another day. So yeah. So when Deku gets outside, he's basically talking to Dabi. Says, "So how is this gonna work?" And before Dabi got to Deku's house, he says, "Oh crap, I never asked him how I could transfer it." As then he called up caregiver. He then asked for all for one. As all for one asks, says, "Dabi, what is it?" He goes, "I forgot to ask you. How can you transfer a quirk over to someone else?" He says, "DNA. Give him a hair or blood. That's all." As he says, "I'd rather give him one of my hairs." He says, "It's gonna be gross, but just tell them something like, eat this or something." As then, so Dabi plucks one of his hairs and he says, "Eat this." Not like that, but he says, "Eat this. Seriously. This is the only way how you're gonna transfer your quirk." As Deku looks at him and goes like, "You gotta be kidding me." He says, "Nope." He goes, "Fine." Also, by the way, this when Deku does curse. If you guys want that, I will say do some curse words. I won't say them say what they are. I'll say F or something. But yeah. But so he swallows the air and he says, "Now what?" He says, "Just wait till it digests. Meet me at the beach tomorrow since it's a weekend." As he goes, "Alright." So yeah. So Deku tells his mom. He wakes up early in the morning. His mom wakes up and she goes, "Midoriya." I mean, she doesn't say. She goes, "Isaku, you're awake." He goes, "Yeah." She goes, "How have you?" And then she noticed all the scarring on him. She goes, "What happened?" And she's touching him. He goes why do you care? You haven't noticed him until. And she goes, and then she starts crying. He goes, "Mom?" And she starts saying, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." And he goes, "Mom, it's alright. I don't know why you haven't." She goes, "Because I've been working multiple jobs." He goes, "What?" She goes, "I don't believe we're really quirkless. I believe you have power. It's just a late bloom." But he says, "But the doctor says, I don't care. You have a power. I know you're a quirk. You have a quirk. It's just wouldn't show right away." She says, I'm just hoping it's true." As then Deku's just asks, "So why haven't you been talking to me at all?" As he says, she just tells him she's been working two part-time jobs and a full-time job, saving up money for him, just in case he gets a quirk. As he says, "So you've been..." She goes, "Yes." As he goes, "All this time I thought you didn't care about me." As he starts crying and she goes, "Izuku, it's alright, it's not your fault." He goes, "I hated you all this time just because you ignored me." He starts just let out tears as she's in shock. He goes, "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." And she hugs him, says, "No, I am." As then all of a sudden she feels like she noticed Deku's shirt has a little holes in it, like burn marks, and she goes, "Deku, you have." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I guess it did work." She goes, "What?" He goes, "I might have manifested a quirk." She goes, "What? What? We have to get to." He goes, "No, I need to figure out how to control it first before I wanted to go to anyone." She goes, "Oh." He goes, "Yeah. By the way, the person who did this all wasn't myself." She goes, "Who?" She goes, "Bakugo." He says Bakugo. As she says, as Mitsuki, and she just said, and he just says, "Mitsuki knows. She keeps apologizing for him. I just tell her, don't apologize for him. It doesn't matter. There are no heroes in this world that really care about a quirkless person." So then Midoriya just opens up his hand, and all of a sudden, blue flames start to appear on him. In it, and she's going like, "You have a fire quirk, just like your father." And he goes, "Yeah, but it ain't fire breathing like his." And she laughs. He goes, "No, but it looks very powerful." She's happy, and she goes, "Well, I'm gonna go change. I gotta go meet someone." And she goes, "Who?" He goes, "Oh, it's just a guy I met." She goes, "What guy?" She goes, "Mom, you haven't been noticing what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, since I was 5. She goes, "Oh, yeah. You probably have friends." And then he just says, "It was just some guy that helped me out. So he offered to train me in this quirk, with this quirk. Okay?" As she nods, and he says, and then he hugs her again, and he says, "I'm sorry." As she says, It's alright, my boy. Just be safe." As but he does warn her that since he doesn't, this is his first time having this quirk as it manifested, his body may not be used to it, so he may get some burn from it. She goes, "Why?" And he goes, "I'm just assuming, so please understand." She goes, "Alright, as long as you try to be safe." And he goes, "I will, Mom." So yeah, so he leaves. He goes into his room. He gets something. He gets on like another white shirt, some black pants, some boots, and just walks out. As he was thinking, she really messed up. But she said she needs to make up for lost time. She's been there for his birthdays. She's been there all this time. Like, Deku has gone. He does play video games. He does study a lot. He is a lot smarter than in canon. So yeah. So when Deku comes to Deku Beach, Dabi says, "Well, this is the beach that I want you to clean up with your flame, with cremation." He goes, "Wait, with what?" "Cremation. That's the name of the quirk." He goes, "All right." Also, if you're wondering, he's not gonna get basically. It's gonna be like Bakugo's, even though like Bakugo was like scouted out by All Might, will be scouted by All Might in this. So yeah. So okay, so Deku, basically is like cleaning up the beach with with cremation. Has basically Dabi, every single time he like sees the quirk, he can see the quirk has a lot more power than when he uses it. So he asks, basically, he's like starting to think maybe Midoriya's body can handle it more. But then Deku kind of after throwing a few like 12 fire blasts at okay, putting it back on level 1. But yeah, after throwing a few fire blasts at the trash, he starts wincing in pain a little as Dabi walks over as he sees his hand. It's starting to get the same color as his. As he says, "I guess with this quirk, you have to have that. You you're gonna have the scarring on it too. But he goes, really? He goes, yeah. And then Deku just says, can I look like you? As he goes, kid, you don't want to look like me. And he goes, why not? You look cool. And he goes, what? Look at me. I'm covered in scars and bruises. What's a few more? As he goes, well, these hurt like heck, kid. Well, these hurt like, hell. As he goes, so what? He goes, fine. If you burn yourself hard enough, you'll get the scarring. As he says, but I don't want the eye stains, just the mouth. Actually, just like the neck thing, as he shows his the scar on his neck. He wants to cover up anywhere he has scars that can be visibly seen without taking off his shirt. So, as Dabi says, he explained that as he goes, okay, that I can understand. Just don't do your face. It's a pain. Yes, sure. So, after he takes it. I mean, they train. He goes to school. He's been doing this for a couple of months. But he does leave some trash to even train his body even more. So this is go on in canon with the training kind of, but he trains him more on how much he can put out on if he during the 4th month. No, during the 2nd month. Dabi asks him. They even chat about their life. Dabi talks about how his old life was a little, and they had little brother and sister, and another little brother that has a scar on him. And he goes, really? He goes, yeah, it was due to something. He knows about it. He said he got in touch with his sister. No. Dabi doesn't know about it. He just says his brother was a kind kid, but his father was a jerk. His father had the same quirk as him. Well, this cremation quirk. It's hotter than his. So, whatever you do, don't be like him. He was abusive. As Deku says, why would I? Seriously, that guy just sounds like a loser. As then we go to Endeavor, who sneezes. As he says, somebody must be talking about me. So yeah, as then Deku told him about his mother, how she's been saving up money, for him, just in case he manifested a quirk. As Dabi's in shock, he goes, really? Yeah, she started crying and everything. She started crying, she went on her knees saying she was so sorry. She kept on apologizing, and then I told her how I felt about her, and I apologized for it. As Dabi says, is it true? He goes, I don't know, but she's my mom. I care about her. I gotta believe in her. As Dabi remember his mom. He knows where she is. So Dabi asked him about his father. He tells him his mom told him that he died, but his quirk was fire breathing. As he goes, maybe that's why. Maybe your lungs can handle breathing fire, just not your body can emit it. Isn't used to it. Try it. As Deku then says, all right. As he starts breathing fire, all the trash just disappears. As then, basically, Deku doesn't get the backlash of his throat gets burned. Turns out, Deku actually Dabi says, how you feel? He goes, I feel fine actually. My throat feels okay. As Dabi says, well, maybe it is. You're gonna go to a quirk expert on it. Quirk doctor to get evaluated, see if you can actually handle it. Just in case, don't do it after that. But Dabi's thinking, he was how could his throat should have been burned. His lungs shouldn't have even done that. And then Deku just makes a little fire breath, and then it's in his hand, and all of a sudden he's holding it, and then he's starting to push it upwards. He goes, teach? As he goes, what? As then he grabs that little part, and then he starts pulling the flame, and it's just starting bending. as he goes, whoa, this must be flame manipulation. As Deku goes, yeah. Also, I've been noticing I have a screen. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, oh, it's just I get these little like I get like a little like icon on it saying experience for cleaning up trash or experience for eating something that I've been eating lately or doing something like my workouts and stuff. And I've been getting points into it as Deku explains and about how the function is that he has a shop, and he has basically a equipment, forging, basically items. He has all of that. He has like tabs for them, as then he like even like gets he even sees like when he puts just the forging, as Dabi tells him what does it do. He says, "Oh, it means I can make material like." As he like goes to the help button to it, as Fortune says, he can create weapons or objects or materials like items to suit his needs, like accessories. As he goes, okay. So Dabi says, all right, we're gonna work on this. So Kirigiri, will come by. I'm making it. So as Deku and Dabi train into it 3 months more later. They're still at the beach. Deku has like coming home with a scarring on him, as Inko has been asking him, are you okay? Like, he says, I'm fine. It's just the quirk. My body isn't used to it, but he does like tell her though about when he like came back home that night though. To like when he found out he could breathe fire, he told his mom about it and about the other quirks, the other thing that's been happening. He doesn't know what's happened. It's just weird to him. And she says, okay, we're the flame manipulation. I've been my telekinesis, along with your father's fire breathing, but the leveling might be something new. We have to keep that a secret, son. No one else can see it but me. Seems like it's always on. Like, so she goes, all right. So he talks about it with her as she thinks like some stuff about it. She says she has like work she does work in a like with like a game developer. So she knows a little bit about RPGs, which that's what it's like, online RPGs. Like she like helps out with like cleaning stuff. As he goes, wait, really? He goes, that's the part-time work. The full-time work, she just helps with a coffee, like not like coffee shop. I'm gonna give her like a high-end job. Like she works as like a business secretary, which he's surprised, and she told them about her scheduling, and they're okay with it. Like if the schedule changes, her schedule changes there. So yeah, so she has been making a lot of money, which she has been saving it for her son, which is over 40 million yen. No, 40 billion yen actually. It's been over the years. As Deku just tells her, take some of it, spend it on yourself. And she goes, no, he goes, Mom, just do it, please. As she says, all right. As she looks a little bit upset. He goes, I appreciate what you've done, but please, just spend something on yourself. You've been working so hard for me. It's time I do a little bit more of my part. As then, Dabi and him have been combat fighting with it. But Dabi does got his ice quirk, basically. And he has visited his mom. She says, Toya, how are you? And he just says, hi, Mom. So he starts talking about this kid he met. He says he got rid of the fire quirk. And she goes, but he says, I got something that's more suitable for me. She goes, what? An ice quirk. And so he shows her, and she says, but how did you? I know, guy. Look, Mom, this kid I was quirkless. He had scarring on him. He's being bullied. He's starting to get the same stuff as me. The burn marks. It just reminded me of me, so... And his father had a flame quirk, so I thought it would be better off for him to have it than me. And she says, I understand. And she hugs him, saying, "I'm proud for you for trying to help him out." He goes, "Yeah, I miss you, Mom." And he starts crying. Basically, yeah. So, though, during the 8th month mark, Kirigiri comes over. All for One left, with Kirigiri. He has a, let's say, a transformation quirk. One that allows him to take on any appearance that he wants. So, he, does it. He leaves, as the doctor says, you shouldn't be going out in public, as then he transforms into somebody else. As he goes, don't tell me what to do. I need to see my son. As the doctor says, alright, as he tells him about, the child's quirk, also, as you know, what you could have done with, you could have pulled flames to you and manipulate them. So, yeah. As, basically, when he gets over there with Kirigiri, he sees Deku and Dabi fighting, and with ice and flame, he sees the potential of. He sees what his son has been doing with it. It's amazing. He's fighting with a fire scythe. He's even using the flame in another hand, just blowing off any ice coming near him. As then he starts, then even making a fist of fire, just punching right through the ice. And this ice is so cold, it should be able to freeze anything. But Deku's powering up the flame so much. As Deku actually has increased his strength, his speed, and his intelligence with this quirk, as, with the level up, as his resistance. His quirk, he even got, he wasn't able to do anything with the manipulation besides bend it and, use it as, whips and stuff. But now he has actually, there's, one level in, the skill tree. He also had a skill tree, basically, flame manipulation, cremation. As he basically has been putting the points in. As he had, around when he actually finally decided to actually increase his leveling. And because he increased his leveling, he got skill points. He had leveling points about 50. So he increased everything. Okay, his stats are basically in strength. Originally, it would have been like this. His stats in strength were 20. Speed, 30. Not 30. 22. Resistance, about since he gets beat up a lot and abused, then he always gets hurt. That resistance is gonna be around 25. Intelligence, dexterity. Intelligence is gonna be around. That's gonna be the highest. 32. Dexterity and everything else is gonna be around just 20. So, he was already overpowered. So he increases everything right away. And it's just he made it all even. He's already level 40 in all stats. Intelligence wise, he's a little bit above that. So yeah. And skill wise, the skill points, he had the first two for flame manipulation and cremation. Flame manipulation, he make whips out of it. He had about 40 skill points, so he was okay, so he got flame manipulation with the whips that he had, be able to make walls of fire with it. He can manipulate it to make, he made hammers, gauntlets, armor, speed it, armor around him, and basically even scythes and all that. He only got 5, and those are so yeah, whips. That's the basic skill. Manipulate it, and then he make whips out of it. Armor, gauntlets, scythes, and basically a shield of fire. With the cremation, he increased that so much. And there's more than one. He can increase the leveling of those 3 different times. So basically, he has increased the cremation almost all the way through. And that's just basically resistance, power, attention to flame, resistance to his own flame, and it's just resistance to water. Like how much power he can put in water stuff is, and like even like increasing the power of the flame. And there's like a block off point, so it's like he can only do 5 until he gets around to. No, he can do like all the way up to like 6 levels, like level points, like skills, and then there's like a block up point, and he has to be at least a level 70. Because the reason how he got all the way to level 40, because he's been training so much. But the next level for his cremation is where he can make the flames even hotter. Like they can go black basically. So yeah, no, black and then it'll go white. So yeah, as Deku, Dabi's seeing it, and he says, "So how's leveling Quirk, huh?" He goes, "Yeah, it's been pretty good." And then like Deku says, "Oh yeah, I didn't figure out something. Anything I touch, I get to see the item, and then I get to see, like I can even put it in my storage like food, and it's like it never goes rotten in it." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, my mom needs sandwiches. Here." As that was from 3 days ago, and that was like after that was like when basically they're done with the train for a while, take a little break. As Dabi says, "Wow," because yeah, as like Dabi called All For One like even that same day and told about Inko, like has been doing all of this work for her son, as he literally checked in everything just in case. He believed in Inko, but he wanted to make sure, as everything was all true. He was so happy. He actually just like cried a little bit. He cried, and Shigaraki asked him what's wrong, as he just says about Midoriya. And she goes, "Huh?" And she says, "Izuku." And she goes, "Wait, Izuku?" He goes, "Yes, he's gonna want to be. He wants to become a hero." He goes, "Why you?" He goes, "Because I don't want him to have that life." He goes, "What about me?" He goes, "You were already, the dark path, the darkness of society. He didn't, because he was only not even born yet. I didn't want that for him." As Shigaraki still acts like a baby, but he he is more intelligent in this, to like in his comprehension, as he understands him. He understands All For One's logic in this. He goes, "All right, I understand, Father, but still, if he gets in my way, I won't hold nothing back." And he says, "You better hope he doesn't." So yeah, but anyways, like Kirigiri and All For One, walk down, as All For One claps, as he says, "Well, good job to the both of you." As he even like changed his voice, since Kirigiri's there, he goes, "Oh, sorry, did you need the beach for something?" He goes, "Oh, no, young man, I don't need it. I was just impressed by your battles. Your battling. Both of you, actually." And Seiko goes, "Thanks." He goes, "Your quirk is amazing." He goes, "Yeah, thanks. It's kind of too powerful." As he sees the scars on Deku's arms, and he goes, "What happened to you?" He goes, "Oh, it's just my own quirk. It's doing this to me." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "I've been avoiding using it for so long." He goes, "Why?" And All For One thinking that's his cover-up story. So he goes, "Oh, it's because of that reason?" He goes, "Yeah, I didn't want to hurt myself, but I'm gonna try to get into UA." As basically Deku is a little bit more happier, but he still has that attitude when it comes to people, just not Dabi. As Dabi says, "Look, you already know my feelings about you becoming a hero. I'm against it, but hey, you'll learn." That's all. As Dabi says he's gonna walk over and talk to that guy over there since he knows him. As All For One is about to say, wants to say, "Izuku, it's me," but he doesn't. He asks, he says, "What's your name, boy?" He says, "Izuku Midoriya." He goes, "Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Marcus Shigaraki. I'm half Japanese." hence the American name. He goes, oh, well, you do look like it. He goes, thank you. So, you work on your quirk more? He goes, yeah, I found out a few things I can do with it. He goes, really? He goes, yeah, manipulation, it's pretty simple. Um, it turns out, I mean, I get to manipulate something and I basically can use it. As then he just uses regular manipulation with his flame, as he just like shows like he just turns into like a bat or a piece of wood or something, as he's saying, wow, that's amazing. He goes, yeah, and he says, I today after this I'm gonna get my quirk exam and see what I can do, basically with it. As he goes, oh, why haven't you? I mean, shouldn't you even? He goes, yeah, I'm a late bloomer. He goes, oh, how old were you when you got it? He goes, 13, basically. He goes, okay. As Kiryu comes over to him and says, Master, you must get going. As he's saying, alright, sorry to disturb your both training, so hope you do well. As, Kiryu and All For One leave. So Dabi says, alright, enough break, let's go. As he says, why did you get to eat? He goes, alright, fine, eat first, then let's get going. He goes, alright. So Deku eats real quick, then he get back to training, and then they leave. They're done with training. They've been training a lot, so Deku's quirk is a lot stronger. Cremation is a lot stronger. Manipulation is basically he's good, and Deku's having a little bit of a hard time leveling up more, but yeah. So when Deku goes to get his quirk examined, he does they go to a different doctor because Inko does not want to have the same problem. As basically they don't do any X-rays. They just they don't do any X-rays on this, as they just basically just examine his quirk. As he says, he's been trying to train it for so long because it was burning him at first a little, so he thought it would have been a good idea to come in here and show it. As so they go, alright, so he shows what he can do with it. They're impressed. But they do ask about the scar on his arm. He says, oh, this just happened because, of his quirk. And says it doesn't matter what he does, it just, burn away. He has been using salt water to help it, dousing the flame of it. It's out of control since he's been training near a beach. As they say, that's a good idea. But really, he does, every single time when it's starting to shrivel, he does douse his arm in the water, but then after a couple hours, it's, starting to shrivel up, and they see, the staples in his hand, as they do, actually, no, wait. I'm saying Dabi did take him to someone to get something that wouldn't, go away, or, need to get, cleaned out or rust. So he had this person was a doctor for a mafia that knew Dabi, and so he kind of just helped him out. Basically, he had a quirk that was for medical purposes. As then he came up with the idea to give for Midoriya for this. He came up with something to basically make sure his skin didn't shrivel up. So it's as soon as when it became pink, I mean the same color as Dabi, color purple, it became just became like a part of the skin. So his skin is attached to it, and it's only up to his forearm, almost near his shoulder. That's how far it goes, and that's it. And then he even has the all the way to his neck. He even had that, so he had to get that done, and that was the hardest part. So yeah, but that kind of was like a delicate part, but it didn't it didn't pierce deeply into his skin, so it just like holds it there, and then as soon as he uses his flame quirk, his cremation quirk, it melted into his skin, and now it's a part of it. So yeah, so he's good. They say he can cover his whole entire body, but since he has gained like so much resistance to it, it won't like burn him anymore. So yeah, that's it on that. And yeah, so he gets his quirk registered as cremation slash flame manipulation, and they even tested out on his flame manipulation too, that he can draw in other flames into his cremation. But he doesn't need no other he doesn't need like the leveling system, like his skill system to actually create new moves. What he does though, he does get like new freaking skills. With cremation and manipulation are like combining then into, as he says, as every time when he learns something new, he gets to add it to his arsenal, which is impressive to him. So yeah, so after that training, he is happy. You know, like after like all that, he's happy that he got it registered. His mom is happy too. They go out to celebrate. She called Mitsuki, and Mitsuki, comes over. She doesn't want Bako to know, so she tells Bako that her and his father are gonna go out as they all celebrate Midoriya. As they see Midoriya though, they freak out. As he goes, "It's just a part of my quirk. It happens." But the guy that's been helping me with my quirk knew a guy, so he came up with these. He came up by using his quirk. He's a doctor that basically helps out with like stitching people up or something, and he came up with this little idea that when I use my cremation, the cremation goes, "Oh, that's the name of the quirk." It goes, "Okay." It would basically the metal would fuse into my skin, and yeah, so it's holding up my skin. But I do moisturize it every so often. As they laugh, so yeah, but Dabi, kind of watched this when he was like walking around. He watched him, and he just smiled. He has been going visit his mom a lot more, and he has been thinking about his own family, as he did call up his sister and his brother, and he just like said, "Hey sis," and she goes, "Toya." He goes, "Yeah, it's been a while." She goes, "Where are you? What have you been doing?" He goes, I can't tell you. You wouldn't like it." And she goes, "I'll understand if it's anything. Even if you become a villain, brother. Please, just talk to me. Just come over and talk to me. Miss you. Shoda misses you." He goes, he wouldn't miss me if he knows what I've done. It doesn't matter. You're my brother." And basically, she's just saying all that. He goes, "How about we meet up? You, me, hold on, I didn't even remember the other guy's name." As he says, "You, me, and Natsu shall meet up at some time and point. But just know, I look a lot different from when I left." She goes, "Alright. Just text me when." He goes, "I will. See you, sis." As then he hands up the phone. So after that celebration, that was the 8th month mark, the 9th month and the 10th mark. So right when the 10th month is over, near the end. Sorry, I ate the rest of the cookie. So yeah, he did meet up with his brother and sister. They were shocked to see what happened, and they say he told them a lot of stuff happened, but but he has not decided to join the League of Villains yet. But after this, he will give them his decision. So yeah, but anyways, that's it. So right around the 10th mark, it's like in the middle of it, he tells him, "Alright, that's all I can teach you, is Zuko." He goes, "Thank you, Dabi, for everything, really." Thanks. And hey, just because you're a villain doesn't mean I won't be your friend. You're my teacher after all. Dabi goes, wait, you you know I'm a... He goes, I know from day one. Really? And all this whole entire backstory of you telling me? At first, I didn't really believe it, but the more you started talking about your family and all that, and we began close, I kinda did. But hey, thanks to you, I finally knew how my mom really felt. We started talking a lot more, our relationship got way more better, and yeah. So, you know, they're at the beach, and when they see, like, he sees, um, Bakugo and All Might did come out of the beach when Midoriya and Dabi did leave. So yeah, you know, they've been training in the workout area. In the gym, I mean. So, yep, but Dabi, so let's go back to what I was saying though, what Dabi said, if you knew, why did you go, did you just do it for your quirk? For the quirk or something? He goes, no. Not really. I didn't give a crap about the quirk at all. He goes, but then why? He goes, as he walks up to Dabi, and he just says, points on, like, taps his chest, says, you. He goes, what? Why me? He's like, get a little angry. He goes, because there's something about you that I didn't know why. I was intrigued. I wanted to get to know. And now I do. I wanted a teacher. I also wanted a friend. A real friend. As Dabi eyes just widen, he goes, even though I'm a villain, he goes, if you're a villain, I would change in a heartbeat the side just to save yours if I have to. You're a good person, even though you do bad things. And besides, you aren't the villain in the story. No one is. It's just who's telling it that makes you the villain. To me, you're the hero. I used to be an All Might fan, but not anymore. If you became a hero, I'll be supporting you 100%. As Davi's just saying, you're lying, right? Me be a hero, I hate them. Why would I? I said, if you did, Dabi. If. As Dabi kind of just has like starting to tear up a little, as then he wipes him away real quick. He goes, "Don't make me cry. The cemental bullcrap. I mean, you know, BS." As Medeku just laughs, he goes, "Well, this is the last day we may see each other. So, I had to get this all off my chest before I don't ever see you again." As Dabi says, "Come on." He goes, "What? Where are we going? Like, what do you mean?" He goes, "We're getting you something." He goes, "Really? A graduation for getting your quirk trained up to the best we can. The rest you gotta learn on your own and study for your exam. Got it?" He goes, "Sure thing, Teach." He goes, "Don't call me Teach." And he goes, "What? Then call me Big Brother. Also, don't you want to get your hair dyed to change from the green?" He goes, yeah. Come on, alright then." So, Dabi, you know, does get his jacket early for the one I think he has in the the training arc, but he has that already. He then he goes to like an area. He goes to the place where he got it, but he got it like fitted. He got the same look on it, but different. He got it from Midoriya, and then he asked the designer. The designer did ask Midoriya what would he like it to be. He says the same color as Dabi's, just black and gray, but don't have like the just like it looked like it's ripped though. The sleeves are ripped. As he goes, oh, nice design. Then you know even like he wants to make it look like it's burnt a little. So yes, the designer makes it like that. He does get it like a little bit burnt look like, and then he even like made it very fireproof. Like he can like go on his whole entire like clothing though, can go on fire and it would not burn. As these are people that are like working for criminal organizations. Sorry, and Dabi knows them. So yeah, so Midoriya only like learns about them briefly, as then he does get his hair dyed, which Inko met Dabi that day. As he just said, before he got his hair dyed, as he wanted to talk to his mom about it to get her permission for it, because Dabi felt weird without it a little, even though he's a villain. So yeah, so Deku talked to his mom about it. And they made it up, and Dabi said he's paying for it. As she sees her son's look. So Dabi's shirt's always gonna be white. So is Deku's. His jacket looks like Dabi's jacket, but then Dabi has like this jacket in the picture, as that will be his civilian clothing look, civilian jacket now. Deku will have like a lighter. He'll have like basically the same thing, but it would look a little bit more different. Has a little bit more design to it. It's black, but it has like pockets on the side as it just zips up. So yeah. And yeah, okay. But yeah, so Deku gets his hair dyed. Different color. I'm gonna say white. You know why? Because I want to make him not exactly look like Dabi. So yeah, he gets his hair as white. His eyes are still green. As she was okay with it. Like he says, since I'm gonna have the same, this is his quirk. I don't want to look like him. I want to, basically somewhat look like him, just not all the way. As basically basically explained to his mom about that, and she was like okay with it. But yeah, so after that, they parted ways. She says, was that the guy who, gave him the quirk? He said yeah. As she says, he seems like a nice guy, and then he says, yeah, he's a villain, no. And she goes, wait, what? You mean you? And he goes, yeah, but as he explains her his whole entire backstory, his reason to hate heroes, his reason for being a villain, she understood, but she's still a little bit worried now. And he thinks, don't worry. I could probably he has an ice quirk. Me and him, we didn't find it so much. It seems like we know each other already. And he told me to call him Big Brother. As she goes, wow. He goes, yeah. And also, he's kind of like my very first real friend in a long, long time. As she's happy. As, she does ask about his hair. He says it's going to be permanent now. As she says, well then, let's get a cut. As he doesn't have, like, that waving, like, the same type of hair. He did have the same hair as we all know, but he does get it like cut short now. He gets it cut short and styled and all that. So yeah. It's been almost. I've been just going at it because I just want to put all of this in. I'll cover the U.S. I'll cover the exam and everything else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Alright, I kind of am a little bit tired. No, I am not a little. I actually am extremely tired. And I'm surprised I even made through this video without dozing off. Oh, that was weird. But yeah, I'm gonna look at this video, and if it's uploaded, then I liked it. So yeah, alright. Okay, well, bye everyone. Hope you enjoy your day, night, and I will make another video tonight, and then I will make Naruto the demon, became a demon tomorrow. So, bye everyone.